In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Welcome back, everybody. Although federal law bans the blood sport of cockfighting, it still goes on around the country and in Texas. Just this week, we reported how Caldwell County deputies recently raided a cockfighting ring, detaining 9 people and seizing 35 roosters.
And Houston area investigators are still looking for several suspects who ran when they busted a large cockfighting ring on Sunday. So authorities recovered more than 115 roosters and hens from that property, including some severely injured or dead. And now there's a push in Congress that would give more resources on the national level to combat animal fighting. Wayne Pacelle is the president of Animal Wellness Action and the Center for a Humane Economy. His group supports that effort, and he joins us now. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Pleasure to be with you.
So you track this type of illegal activity across the nation. A few weeks ago, we were talking about how there was a bust in Potter County, and it was kind of the tip of the iceberg for events here in Texas. Are we seeing an uptick in Texas, and how do we compare with the rest of the nation, Wayne?
Well, shockingly, cockfighting is a global enterprise, and in the United States, there are hundreds of illegal fighting pits and operations where the cockfighting derbies are staged. But we're also the breeding ground for cockfighting birds that are sent throughout the world. Clearly, the #1 destination for U.S. reared fighting birds is Mexico. Hundreds of thousands of birds are shipped from gamecock operations, fighting operations in Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, North Carolina, California, other states. And they die in pits. Many of them are cartel-controlled pits in the northern part of Mexico. Another big destination is the Philippines. In 2022, there was $13 billion with a B wagered on cockfights online in the Philippines. Gives you just a little sense of the global enterprise here. Texas has had operations busted very recently in East Texas and West Texas, as you said, in Potter County, Houston, Caldwell County. It's widespread. Having said that, Texans oppose this practice. Cockfighting is viewed as barbaric. It's recognized as commingled with other crimes. So now it's really an enforcement issue, and that's why our new federal bill, the Fight Act, has been drafted to really augment our resources and our tools for interdicting these crimes.
And we do want to find out a little bit more in just a moment about that federal effort. But you also mentioned what I wanted to ask, which is about other crimes associated with it, Wayne. It's not just cockfighting. It's tied in with the cartels you mentioned, other forms of organized crime. It's even associated with spread of diseases.
Yes, it is. I mean, listen, there are big outbursts of violence at cockfights. Last year, there was a shooting at a cockfight in Dallas. But Americans are also caught up in the violence over the border in Mexico. Just a month ago, there were 6 killed and 14 wounded at a cockfight run by a cartel in Mexico. There was a 16-year-old boy from Washington State killed and his father severely injured. Prior to that, there were 20 murdered at a cockfight in Mexico. This is cartel on cartel violence, and bunches wounded as well. A Chicago woman was one of the fatalities there. It's happening on both sides of the border. And the issue, Mike, that you raise on disease is the United States has documented that there have been 10 outbreaks of avian diseases that have come from birds smuggled from Mexico into the United States for cockfighting. Just 3 of those major outbreaks have affected commercial poultry and cost U.S. taxpayers more than $1 billion. So the cockfighting birds are often diseased. They're moved great distances. They can infect other birds. When it gets to a commercial poultry house, you can have the entire flock depopulated by the government in order to contain the disease. This is a major issue. It's why we have poultry associations, the egg industry, and others working with us to stop cockfighting, because it's cruel, it's associated with crimes, and it's a disease threat to our commercial poultry industry.
So many layers to this crime. And you were talking about that federal bill now, which aims to enhance efforts to combat animal fighting. Tell us about the Fight Act that your group is endorsing.
Well, we're fortunate to have a very strong federal statute that not only makes it a federal crime to stage dogfights or cockfights, but it also wraps up other associated activities like possessing animals for fighting or being a spectator at a fight. or trafficking in the fighting implements. You know, the birds have sharp knives or curved ice picks called gaffs that are attached to their legs. All of that is criminalized, but we haven't seen enough enforcement. So the Fight Act is designed to do everything we can to stop these crimes. One thing that it would do is create a private right of action. So a citizen who, you know, comes across or learns about a dogfight or a cockfight, perhaps it's a neighbor, if there's no federal or state enforcement activities, then they can bring a civil action in court. There's also a criminal forfeiture provision that not only would there be, you know, jail time and fines for a perpetrator, but the fighting pit could be seized, other equipment associated with the activity. And we also want to stop the shipment of roosters for fighting through the U.S. Postal Service. You can believe this, there are tens of thousands of fighting birds shipped through the U.S. mail. Now, it is a crime under laws that I've worked on before to ship the birds for fighting through the U.S. mail, but the cockfighters say, oh, we're just doing it for breeding. You know, they're not going to fighters. And the United States Postal Inspection Service, which is the enforcement agency for USPS, has really never made a case. So the Fight Act forbids shipping chicken roosters through the U.S. mail 6 months and up to stop this global trade. And what's happened is we discovered, just to give you an example, a cockfighter in Oklahoma was shipping birds to the Texas border with Mexico. So they use the USPS, they bring the birds to the border, and then a cartel operator runs over the border, grabs the birds, and sends them to the cartel-controlled fighting venues in Mexico. This is an amazing trafficking activity that's going on, and the Fight Act does that and more to stop these crimes.
Okay, Wayne Pacelle, the president of Animal Wellness Action, thank you for being with us this afternoon.
No, thank you so much.